All right, this is Dennis Fisher of ThreatPost. I'm here in Moscow with my friend Kostin Rau, who is the Chief Security Expert for our EMEA region. And we're in the middle of the Virus Analyst Summit, which is sort of a quarterly meeting of all the top security experts in the company, talking about threats, what we're going to see in the year ahead. So, Kostin, we had a brainstorming session yesterday for most of the morning to talk about the threats and how we're going to respond. Just tell me a little bit about what the top 2 or 3 threats were that we talked about yesterday morning.
Yeah, so this is something we're doing every year at the beginning, just to take into discussion the top 10 threats of which yesterday we mostly discussed things such as torrents, attacks on torrents and attacks coming from torrents. Social network has been as delivering attacks against people, fraudware, malvertising, botnets, DOS attacks, and so forth. And probably the most important 3 items we came up with yesterday were fraudware, that's fake antivirus products, that's mostly related to SEO optimization, to major events such as the earthquake in Haiti, so to say, or the iPad from last night, which is already happening with bad guys optimizing results so that you end up in one of those fake antivirus websites. And we do think that's still going to be a major threat in 2010, especially with very little means of legal prosecution against these guys. Well, the second one we were considering yesterday is botnets, and definitely everybody remembers Keto, and probably this is going to happen again in 2010. Maybe if not at the same scale, botnets are still going to remain a huge problem, especially decentralized botnets, peer-to-peer communication, which is very hard to take down. And the reason botnets are probably going to be still popular is they're an excellent way of making money. They can be used to launch DOS attacks, so they can be used to blackmail companies, and they can be used to send spam and to propagate infections further. And we're seeing more and more complex botnets every day. And probably the last item on the list is PDF files and zero-day vulnerabilities in media files, complex and rich media files. And throughout 2009, PDF has probably been the major vector of attack, especially with zero-day vulnerabilities. And now, given that it is known that in the Google and Adobe hack, the hackers managed to get access to the PDF reader source code as well as potentially other modules used, let's say, in Flash Player, we are definitely expecting an increase in the number of zero-day vulnerabilities being discovered in these applications, especially PDF Reader being so popular, and with so many people not knowing that there are other options to PDF Reader, such as Foxit, for instance. Not that it is more secure, it's just different. So it's the same, in my opinion, the same situation we have with Firefox and Internet Explorer and Chrome. And people just use Internet Explorer because it comes by default, and they are not aware that Firefox and Chrome are at least just as good, and they work just as well as Internet Explorer.
And you mentioned the botnets. That has almost turned into sort of the basis for all the cybercrime that we're seeing online these days. It's like their base of operations for the credit card theft, spam, all of that. And we imagine that's going to continue to expand in 2010 and beyond.
Yes, because it's practically it is free computing power for the bad guys, and computing power is extremely important when it comes to doing major operations such as launching DOS attacks or sending spam. Therefore, definitely botnets are going to remain the top choice for the bad guys to conduct their operations.
And we see those used in sending out those malicious PDFs that we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah. Well, in the case of the PDF attacks, I guess there's a difference between mass attacks and targeted attacks.
Right.
And we are now aware of the fact that in the Google hack and the Adobe hack, the so-called Aurora operation, that was a very focused, targeted attack. So I don't think that necessarily botnets were used, and it was not necessary to use botnets for those kind of attacks. But probably targeted attacks is another thing which is going to become huge in 2010, and people need to start thinking about ways to mitigate that. For instance, the fact that all these Trojans use HTTP to dial into their command and control center, so to do the reporting. People need to consider things such as using proxies inside their organization and to use proxies with authentication. And if that happens, probably that's just one way of mitigating these threats.
All right. Thanks very much, Kostin.
Thank you.